Why is OS installation from USB hard? Have you ever tried installing an operating system from a USB drive and found it to be a bit tricky? You are not alone. Many people face challenges during this process. Let's break down why this can be difficult and how to tackle those hurdles. First, the booting process from a USB drive relies on the computer's firmware settings. This could be either basic input-output system or unified extensible firmware interface. Most modern computers use unified extensible firmware interface, which has security features like Secure Boot. This feature can block unauthorized operating system images from loading. If Secure Boot is active, your USB installation media might not be recognized unless it is properly signed. Sometimes, you may need to change the boot order in the firmware settings to prioritize USB devices. This can be confusing for those who are not familiar with basic input-output system or unified extensible firmware interface menus. Next, let's talk about the USB ports themselves. USB 3.0 ports are faster but can create issues during installation. This is because the installation environment may not have the necessary drivers to recognize these ports. To avoid this, it is often best to use USB 2.0 ports. Additionally, the USB drive must be prepared correctly. It needs to be formatted with the right file system and contain a bootable image. If the USB is not created correctly, such as using an incompatible image or a corrupted file, the system will fail to boot or install the operating system. Different operating systems also have unique requirements and installation procedures. For example, Windows installations often need specific drivers and may have strict hardware checks. These checks can include trusted platform module and random access memory requirements. On the other hand, Linux distributions are generally more flexible but still requiring correctly formatted USB drives. Mac operating system installations usually use their own recovery and installation methods, making USB installation less common and often more complex. From a practical standpoint, users must take several steps to ensure success. First, they should configure the basic input-output system or unified extensible firmware interface settings correctly. This may include disabling Secure Boot if needed and setting USB as the primary boot device. Second, using USB 2.0 ports can help reduce driver-related issues during installation. Third, creating the bootable USB drive with the right tools and verified installation media for the target operating system is essential. Lastly, being aware of the specific installation requirements for each operating system can save time and frustration. In summary, installing an operating system from a USB drive can be challenging due to the need for precise coordination between firmware settings, USB hardware compatibility, and correct preparation of the installation media. Each major operating system has its own demands and installation processes, making this task one that often requires troubleshooting and careful setup to succeed.